Ill in disguise, and he's here to steal. He's part of a gang of juvenile delinquents roaming the forest, tricking unwary males. Follow them. He has an eye for detail too, placing them precisely for maximum visual impact.
Basra. Exploring, looting, and securing intel will open access to missions and targets. Expect resistance from local forces, and watch for other operators in the AO. Completing contracts earns you cash to buy gear and upgrades. Al Mazrah.
She makes all the right moves, entering the bower to show she's interested. A ring makes the perfect gift. Not impressed? How about a bouquet of flowers? But something's not quite right. The penny drops. He's been duped. This isn't a female at all. It's a young male in disguise. And he's here to steal. He's part of a gang of juvenile delinquents roaming the forest, tricking unwary males. In their hideout, they display their ill-gotten gains. It takes up to 7 years for a male bowerbird to reach maturity. In the meantime, they practice making a bower and dancing for each other. But they can never have too many blue trinkets and bling. Time to go out stealing again. And bowers don't come more decadently inviting than this. But this is no ordinary bower. It's occupied by a male spy bowerbird and adorned with an irresistible array of blue treasure and jewel cameras, all perfectly placed to catch the thieves in the act.
Ultra One, activity has increased in the area. Keep your
Like
eyes open.
professionals, they approach with caution. Once again, they pretend to be courting females. This time, they work together. One distracts as the other steals the jewels. Spy bowerbird can only observe as they clean out the bower, gem by precious gem.
Ultra One, you have a squad member bleeding out. They need a revive.
Back home with their stolen goods, they continue to practice their courtship techniques. But Spy Bowerbird isn't off the hook. The male bowerbird who was their first victim needs to replenish his
Actual
bower.
to Ultra One, intel
Well,
sourced the location of an
if you
AQ
can't
hard
beat them,
drive.
you may as well
Secure
join
that
them.
disk and upload all contents. Target areas marked on your TAC map.
Sand martins fly from South Africa just to nest in the banks of this river in Hungary. They are here for the abundant insect life, but as their chicks grow, demand outstrips supply. But in their time of need, the river provides a perfect banquet. One by one, they emerge. They are mayflies. Their moment of glory lasts just 3 hours, just time enough to mate and lay eggs. They are a superfood for the hungry chicks.
Ultra One, we've marked a radio tower on your TAC map. Use it to transmit the data.
the day ends, the mayflies perform their swan song. The sand martins are so full they lose their edge and appetite. But their loss is another's gain.
Living in the grounds of a Hawaiian hotel is a night heron.
One, use the tower to transmit the data. Access
The
point
staff
is at the top.
call him Hank. His home is an all-inclusive resort where food is literally thrown at you.
There you go. More bread.
Oh my goodness, you're
More
going for the
bread,
bread.
Daddy.
You go through loaves of bread, right?
But Hank always has trouble going up against the larger swans.
Yes, that is a little.
When he finally does get his beak on some food, he does something completely unexpected. He doesn't eat it, but instead appears to have a plan. Hank takes the bread. He places it in the water and he waits. He could eat it at any time, but he doesn't. That was part of the plan.
Look, he's gonna catch. Look, he caught another fish. He caught a big fish.
Two fish in a single mouthful. Hank is catching fish by using the bread as a tool, and he clearly knows how valuable it is. He doesn't waste it on fish too big for him to eat, but instead takes it out of harm's way.
Food is so scarce that more than 2 adults are needed to search for it if a nestful of chicks is to be kept supplied. This bird is not the parent of these nestlings. It's one of last year's chicks who was stayed on to help raise this year's brood. Young female helpers, after a year or 2, usually leave to look for territories of their own. But young males may stay on for as long as 7 years. One of them may eventually inherit the family estate and nesting site when the old breeding male dies. But most will never father a brood. Instead of producing their own young, they find their reproductive reward in helping to raise their younger brothers and sisters. Guarding the food supply is just as important as collecting it, and some of the young helpers act as sentinels, keeping an eye out for thieves. This is a trespasser from a neighboring territory, sneaking in to try and steal food. That can't be allowed. back to normal duties. Another intruder, an indigo snake. It too is hungry, and the meal it is searching for could well be a jay chick.
So, teamwork saves the nest. Indeed, as a result of studies here, we now know for certain that pairs with teams to help them are very much more successful in rearing their young. Recently, though, it's been discovered that this form of cooperation is quite widespread among birds. Some species of wrens and woodpeckers and moorhens all use this form of cooperation under some circumstances, as indeed do some mammals.
One that involves a very talented pod of dolphins. They are closely watched by a flock of great egrets, who have become experts on the dolphins' behaviour. Their cue is the moment a dolphin pops to the surface, checking the position of the nearest mud bank. The egrets are poised and ready for action. Then it happens. The dolphins drive the fish shoal ashore. As the fish flounder, the dolphins scoop him up. But the egrets also pile in. This is the only place in the world where dolphins strand feed like this. And the local birds have learnt to make the most of it. Strangely, the dolphins always use their right sides to push ashore. The young dolphins pick up this technique from their parents, as do the egrets that follow them. Many no longer fish for themselves and totally rely upon the dolphins' cast-offs. The egrets are living proof of birds' extraordinary ability to adapt to the opportunities on offer.